Hello kids, it's a story time. The pigeon and the ant. Let's start it. Now let me introduce you with the main characters of this story. Anthony, the very naughty little ant. Anthea, she is Anthony's aunt. White pigeon and a young boy. Once there was a brook that flowed through a green field. Beside it there lived an ant called Anthony. He lived with his brother and sisters, and there were lots of them. One day Anthony's brother and sisters were all busy. They had found a large piece of cake in the field. The cake was left by someone after a picnic. The ants marched in a long line to the picnic spot. Each of them in turn broke off a tiny piece of cake and carried it back to their nest. They worked hard for many hours. Now, our naughty little Anthony was not too well that day, so he stayed at home. He sat around wondering what to do. Aunt Anthea found him and said,
"Anthony, why don't you sit by the brook? The fresh air and sunshine will make you feel better, dear."
"Thank you, Aunt Anthea. I think I shall do just that."
Off he went. But you know that young people are like. They simply cannot sit for long. Anthony was no different. He sat for a while in sunshine. Then he saw a long twig with it stretched out over the brook.
"That looks like fun. I shall bounce up and down on that twig."
Anthony climbed up the twig and it began to bend closer and closer to the water. It swung up and down and from side to side. Anthony was having a good ride. And then, snap! Suddenly the twig broke and Anthony fell with a tiny pop into the running water.
"Help! Help!"
shouted Anthony. But no one heard him. His brother and sisters were busy. And anyway, how many of us can hear an ant even if he is in trouble? Then out of the sky came a large white pigeon. He flew down onto the bank and very quickly broke off a white piece of grass. She dropped the grass right next to Anthony. Little Anthony climbed onto the grass. Soon the grass got stuck in some reeds and Anthony climbed onto the bank. What a lucky escape! A week went by. Anthony felt much better. He joined his brother and sisters in their hunt for food.
Today, we are going to clean up the bank of the brook. Keep in line and don't get lost.
Anthony and the other ants followed the eldest ant. They marched in line towards the brook. At the brook, one of the scouting ants shouted,
"Packet of biscuits! Over here!"
All the ants went to see what he had found. Washed up on the bank was a packet of biscuits.
How careless! Now, come on, let's clean up this mess.
The ants got busy. They broke off bits of biscuit and carried them in line back to their nest. As the ants worked, they heard the cooing of a pigeon. Anthony looked up. He saw the white pigeon who had saved him. Do you remember, kids? This was the same white pigeon who had saved the life of the naughty Anthony. Anthony smiled. He wanted to wave to the pigeon, but he found this a bit difficult because he was having a piece of biscuit in his hands. The ants went up and down the bank of the brook. The pigeon sat in the tree and cooed. Then, along the bank came a young boy. He was carrying a bow and an arrow. He too saw the white pigeon sitting in the tree. He crept along the bank, hiding behind the long reed. He came closer and closer.
Aha! That fat pigeon looks good. I can hit it from here.
The boy quietly drew the bow and took aim. And then suddenly, the air was filled with a loud shout.
Aye!
The bow and arrow crashed to the ground. The boy leapt up into the air. The pigeon flapped her wings and flew off in a hurry. The boy bent down to look at his foot. There was a tiny red mark on his heel. And Anthony? He was nowhere to be seen.
That's the happy ending of this story. So kids, what you have learned from this story? Yes, helping each other in difficult times. Now let's have a look on few difficult words. Brook, a stream. Flap, to move up and down as wings. Twig, a small thin branch that grows from the main branch of a tree. Reed, tall grass. Hunt, to chase or search. Wonder, desire to know something. So, we will meet next time with some other story.